Welcome in, welcome friends to the newest edition of Seahawkers What If, the most unique Seahawks preview show in the multiverse. And I am joined by the one, the only, the great Omaha. We got Adam Everett coming in for Brandon. Adam, how are you doing today, bud? Off of my bye week, I'm fired up.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I'm glad that you're fired up for this Niners game. And I'm fired up to be here on What If for my first time this year.
First time this year. First time, not the last time. Mr. Phil, how was your break, buddy? How are you doing?
Well, it seems like a really long bye week. I almost forgot how to podcast. I think it's been so long since we've had a Seahawks game. Maybe that's a good thing. You know, maybe there'd be some rejuvenating that's take place from our team. I'm sure the coaches got a lot of time to pencil out some new approaches and things that they've learned from the first portion. So I'm kind of excited to see what will come out of this bye week, how helpful it has been.
Right. I mean, look, after the last mini bye, we took the brakes off the Atlanta Falcons, right?
Yeah.
Beat them by 20 on the road. So can we squeak out a win? We'll talk about that. Of course, this is What If for those that are maybe not familiar with it yet, and that's A-okay. We welcome all newcomers. But What If is part of the Seahawkers podcast network, and it's our preview show in which Mr. Phil down there center stage, he concocts and comes and curates a brand new theme every single week. And we preview the game in what I think is a really fun and interesting and certainly unique way. Adam, for the folks that might be here for the first time ever, what do we want them to do to raise that hawkra?
You bet. If you enjoy Phil's bespoke Seahawks themes here, go ahead, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. It really helps out the channel. We appreciate it. And yeah, we're gonna try to come up with some reasons for you to be excited going into this Niner game, people.
Yeah, one of the cool things, Mr. Phil, on YouTube recently when we had Griff Sturgeon on and Adam and Brandon with the flagship, and then even the other night when I hopped on with Brandon just to talk about like, okay, what happened with Dodson and what does that mean going forward? And I think we'll talk about that too. Is we got a lot of compliments out on YouTube being like, hey, thank you for not just being in the negative town gutter the entire time. Like they're not being a Pollyanna, because I don't think that's very useful in life. And also silver lining, there are some good things there. Even before we hopped on, you're like, man, the Rams catch every single break last time and we lost in overtime. So it's to me, it just continues to be, it's not closer to good, but we're closer to winning than appears in the mirror. Right. And now we're in must win territory. So how are you feeling coming into this week versus a formidable opponent?
Well, if you want to know how I'm feeling, I tried to feel better by researching about this game against they're just 5-4, the Niners, and we're 4-5. So one game back. I saw us play them. We hung with them pretty good when I was there live in Brandon's seats there with my son. So I wanted to feel good about this game, but unfortunately, as I looked around, and this will lead into our theme, but as I looked around what people are saying about this game, pretty much everybody's predicting for us to lose. I mean, it looks like the Niners are at a spot where they look ready to maybe take off. They're getting some of their stars back. They, of course, got McCaffrey back last week. He's starting to look good, especially in all of his everything but running the ball. He looked especially good. He was okay in running the ball. Their receivers are surprisingly looking really good. I mean, Pearsall is coming into his own after recovering from that horrific incident. Jennings is better than I thought he could be for a few years there. Debo's always deadly. He always terrifies me every time I watch Debo. So Kittle is having like his best year, consistently getting touchdowns, making huge catches game after game. Purdy was awesome last week. If it wasn't for their kicker being absolutely atrocious, they kind of, even though it was a close game, they kind of not quite dominated, but they definitely looked better than the Bucs in that game. So rather than a typical previously, that's just what I saw. The Niners looked like the best team throughout that, and they look like they're ready to play even better. So when I think about going in this game with what everybody is saying, here's something that's matching up. Our team, it's getting late early, something that's matching up with the way the world is working. It's getting darker, of course, right now. It's the sun is going down on our team unless something changes. We really need some light. And so our theme this week is, what if what if we can find some light in what looks like a darkening time? Because when I looked around outside of the Seahawkers network of podcasts, when I looked around, I wasn't getting a lot of reason to feel sparked, to feel excited. It's kind of like, and I would agree with this. We need to do something very surprising in this game if we're
Mm.
not going to just begin to feel like let's go ahead and let the sun go down on this season and prepare for next season. We're going to need to see some good things. And so our theme is light. We are at a even numbered game, which means it's week 11, but it's an even number game for the Hawks. But anyways, this
Mhm.
means Clinton will go first. Our categories dealing with light that we so need: stars for starlight, ray of light, enlighten, firelight, flash, and day. Clinton, as we seek some positivity, some potential light going into what could be a very dark matchup, unless a surprise happens, where do you want to go first, Clinton?
Nice. Love this theme. Love it, love it, love it a ton. So let's celebrate that. Thank you for bringing it. Okay, I am a fan of the when Madonna kind of had her little comeback. Was it like maybe late 90s or early 2000s? And her
We're here.
big comeback hit was Ray of Light. That's a dope song. Let's go there. Ray of Light.
Okay, Clinton, Ray of Light. Ray Sean Jenkins is out, so we don't have his Ray. But what if the rest of our DBs can light up our hopes a little bit against this array of nice pass catchers? How do you see that happening? Because I look around and from McCaffrey to Kittle and all the receivers in between, Purdy's got some serious targets. What can our DBs do to give us some hope in this matchup?
So this is one of those answers where I don't think it's about them.
Okay.
Because I don't have an issue with the way Tariq Woolen covers, and I certainly don't have an issue with the way Devin Witherspoon covers. And if Bryant can continue on his path the last few weeks of being like quite a competent safety back there, look, he's not Earl Thomas. He ain't. He doesn't. But very, very, very few could fly around like that. And with that, Bryant's playing pretty good. Probably his best ball so far as a Seahawk. I think it really matters what happens up front, which will be the success of our DBs in general.
Okay.
I trust our DBs. I trust them. Can our front four win consistently and get Brock Purdy a little flustered, to keep it simple and leave it kind of open-ended. Purdy has proven to be quite good. He's wily of escaping at the last second, getting out, and then finding Kittle. We've seen that for how many freaking years now, right? It's just like we have to stop that. Or now it's Jennings, et cetera, et cetera. Can we look pressure on Stafford, but 0 times get home versus 7 for the Rams? Can't have it. It's got to be way, way, way more balanced. I don't care what our offensive line looks like. It's really our front four, guys. That's what I see. Pressure Purdy, get a few turdies, and away we go. So I trust our DBs already.
How about you, Adam? Anything different? Anything to add to Clinton's surmising his hope of sunshine, getting some pressure?
Yeah, basically, I do agree with him. As far as a ray of light here, the front four there, including Ray Robertson Harris. There, we need them to, come through and hopefully have Byron Murphy have a huge day up front. I really think that's where it's going to be the biggest difference maker for this defensive line is if he can win his matchup in the passing game regularly and really show that pass rushing ability that we all loved out of college and have seen flashes of here as he's become a Seattle Seahawk. That pressure up the middle is really what's going to fluster Purdy the most. But beyond that, I really think that the linebacker play is going to be a big deal in terms of how they help the secondary. If Jones and Knight can at least pass off Kittle in a way to the DBs that he's not just wide open running around, I think that would be a huge deal. And Ernest Jones not known for his coverage ability. He's more known for his run support and those sort of things. So if he can show a little bit of a flash there in terms of, just being able to match up with their tight ends and some of their bigger receivers like Jennings, I think that would be a huge deal for them.
Yeah, Kittle's a good question. Who's best to defend him? Would it be like our safeties and our nickel? I don't know that I love the idea of a linebacker covering Kittle more than, right up close to the line. So down the field, I'd kind of hope that it's even Spoon, though he's
Yeah.
smaller, he can make some plays on the ball, or of course Julian and Kobe as well. At least Kittle's not going to outrun Kobe or it's more his body movement that allows him to catch passes than his crazy speed, right? Am I right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he's a good athlete, of course, right?
Yeah.
But he's just savvy. But also, with all that said, too, Phil, the biggest thing you said there, which is I think the most accurate part, is look, what's burnt us in the past is not Kittle barely beating somebody. He's been wide open. He's just been busted plays where he is wide open down the sidelines for 30+ yard touchdowns. Just it absolutely cannot be part of the formula if we're going to win this game. It just has to be eradicated.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to be wide open to make lots of catches like he has the last 5-6 weeks. But
Yeah,
it doesn't help to leave somebody like that wide open. It's crazy.
No.
Okay, Adam, which category next? Where you want to go?
Oh, I like playing with fire, Phil. So let's go with fire.
He wants to bring out the matches, play with a little fire. Here we go. I want to talk about this a little bit, guys. I'm sure we've all been thinking about it. But what if Abe's return can spark a fire in our O-line? The Lord knows we need it, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much better can we be if Lucas proves to be, healthy-ish, mostly healthy, most of himself? How much better can we be with one right tackle, Adam?
We would be 432 better. I don't know what the scale is, but it's a crap ton. I am so excited for Abe Lucas's return. I've told everybody on the show a million times, he is my favorite Seahawk by far. He is one of those big anchor guys you can hang your hat on type right tackles. I think that his ability out there, even Rusty, is going to be levels better than Fant or Forsyth or Jarrell or my mom or whoever else they had put out there at right tackle. So this is my biggest hope for this game. Of all the things going into a matchup that I think is going to be difficult, that does feel like that we are a large underdog there in Santa Clara, having Abe back to try to put together that offensive line and just give Geno a chance, I think is going to be massive. Up to 432.
Up to 432. And he is the spot that typically goes against Bosa. And Bosa is warming up. He had a couple sacks last week, too. So what do you think, Clinton? Can one guy really make that big of a difference for our O-line? Why or why not?
I do think it can. Now, and I love, that I love throwing numbers out there, so I can't do better than what Adam just did. So I'll just say, I hope he's right in ditto. I love that number. It is a network effect that you're after. You're after your right tackle to lock something down, so your right guard is just that much more crisp, or your tight ends that are chipping on the outside, or maybe whatever it is. There's a network effect to really upgrading that position. And it's not just, okay, can Abe block it down? That's a big thing because the right tackle position has been, a swinging gate, a revolving door, whatever metaphor you want to use.
Garbage.
Hot flaming garbage cone.
Yes.
Right? That one also. That's somehow flat that you don't even
fiery,
have to go around.
Our category's fire. They are fiery garbage floating down this.
Fiery stink garbage. Now, it is also on the side, if you continue it to you progress from right tackle to right guard to center, we still got 2 out of 3 positions that are like, woof, right? I did notice that Connor Williams was did not practice yesterday, and it was like a personal reason type day off. I don't know. We're recording this Thursday morning. We don't know what's going to happen, but that's something to watch. Is it Sundell? Is it Olu? Is it Williams again? Maybe they kick Williams to right guard and just say, we've got to try something new. You let out the show being like, do we try dramatically new things? Because the season's on the line. And look, I understand if we win, we're not magically making the playoffs. And if we win, we're not magically making a playoff run. I understand that, but we might, right?
Yeah,
but I also know if we lose, it's pretty much curtains on the season. We're just not going to catch these teams, and specifically the Niners and maybe even the Cardinals. So that's what's up, man. I'm looking for that network effect of if Abe could be in and solid, just solid, how much of an impact does that have on the entire right hand side? That will be really fun to watch, and something to hone in on, guys.
Okay, Fire is gone. Ray is gone. We have 4 choices left, Clinton.
I'm going to go with Flash. He'll save every one of us. Let's do that.
The Flash. I almost put the Flash up there. But Clinton, what if there's a player who has flashed that you think can begin showing some consistency coming off our bye week? Who might that be? Someone you've kind of liked, a few things that you've seen. Can they be consistent for this second portion of the season, Clinton?
Oh Lord. There's a lot of places. Give me a sec to think about this one.
Well, I would tell you, Clinton, I've got one if you want a second to kind of think about it.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll tap
first. There we go.
Tap in bushwhacker style. You come off the top ropes. What do you got?
Yeah, for me, this is the JSN moment of the game. Like, we need some things to really happen that we don't normally count on for us to beat a team like the Niners in their house with McCaffrey back. So for me, it's JSN. If he can stack a performance like he did last week, or not last week because it was the bye, but the week before, that would be massive for this offense. Because honestly, it's felt like in the passing game, it's been DK or bust. And to get JSN involved on a large level like that, where he's not just being used on piddly little, wide receiver screens and things like that, where we're getting him the ball down the field, I think that would be massive.
I would love that. Can he take over the Golden Tate NFC West Dominator guy job?
Yes, sure, please.
If JSN just does that, I would love it. Yeah, love that.
Be fun. That'll be interesting to watch though too. As DK, came back yesterday, he's fully healthy now, right? So he's off. He's not even questionable on the chart. So it's just a matter of like old habits, or no, like we are actually going to evolve a little bit and take advantage of what is probably a really good wide receiver too, that can do it really well from the slot and do it much, much more effectively downfield than maybe he's used in the talk about JSN there, right? So that'll be interesting, dude. That's a great one, by the way. Good call.
Do you have one, Clinton, since you get to go second now?
So I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to talk about Macdonald, and I'm going to reference the conversation that we had just this past week with Griffin Sturgeon from Seattle Overload.
That was a really cool, really cool podcast.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring a dude on who's like, okay, I know what he's saying, but sometimes I have to really listen critically because he's obviously more X's and O's focused. And I think he did a nice job of like talking about it in a more common nomenclature that people could understand. And hopefully we asked some questions that guide him that way too. When it's him and Maddie, they're just X's and O's the entire time. And so it's hopeful that it guided him to be a bit more like descriptive, which I think he did a good job of. With that, the big question was, hey, did we go into one high and just play gap sound football versus the Rams? And was that solely on purpose of the environment? That, hey, the Rams are not that good running the ball. We could kind of get away with this, or was it an actual sea change that Macdonald was going to get out of too high more often because it was just not being successful, and that we were just going to go into one high, be gap sound, and commit to stopping the run first and roll the dice to see if Stafford could beat us. That to me is going to be the biggest thing to watch in the first 15, 20 minutes of the game clock. It's like we get rid of Dotson. What does that signal? I hopped on with Brandon. I said, look, and Brandon said it first. He goes, I think it signals Macdonald believes it's personnel, and he's going to go right back to what he wants to go do, which is too high, and then having your linebackers have to choose and watch be reactionary to the running back, and then choose wisely with the gap versus just get upfield and go to your gap. I'll be watching that, guys. To me, that's one of the biggest things. So it could be consistency in both ways, Mr. Phil. Consistency in it was an actual sea change and it worked, so stick with it, or consistency in it was a 1 week thing and Macdonald believes they could play it better with Knight and Jones. That's huge for me, man. So I'm hopeful. It's just like go play gap sound football and get upfield. I think we have better personnel for that. But I'm not sure that Macdonald's going to do it.
The Dodson release doesn't have to mean that, of course. It's a possibility that it does.
Right.
So your flash is Macdonald's strategy and play calling. Is it going to be consistent, or was it just a matchup
Flip.
thing? Yes.
Yeah.
But we go to Adam. We have, let's see, flash gone. We have 3 choices left. Enlightened stars or day. Which light do you want to see, Adam?
Well, I am certainly anything but enlightened. So let's go with stars.
Stars. Starlight, star bright. Here we go. What if our stars can light up this game? Who are you expecting to see shine down there in the dark, dark land of Santa Clara, Adam?
This is low hanging fruit, but Geno Cyril Smith. Like, I really do believe with Abe Lucas being back and you give him just a smidgen of time against a pass rush for the 49ers that isn't the pass rush of the past. I understand they still have Bosa, and he's a massive, amazing player. Like, there's no getting around that. But the rest of the pass rush isn't what it used to be. That's for
Leonard
sure.
Floyd's getting old, I guess, you think?
Yeah, and he's always been I find him to be one of the more overrated names in all of football. Like, I really do. But at the end of the day, if you can give Geno just a modicum of protection, and it's going to be a big day for Geno because he can tear up any defense in this league. And I just really feel like this is his opportunity with Abe coming back and hopefully with Olu starting at center and getting Connor Williams out of the game and maybe out of the city. That'd be great.
Love that. Well, we do know that Greenlaw is out this game. He's been, so that could portend something nice for some openings for Geno. They have a few injuries on the defensive side. He's probably the one that's the biggest factor. Who do you see as a star that just might shine in Santa Clara, though, Clinton?
Right. The key word here is expecting, and that one's throw me for a bit. So I'm gonna, but it's just fine. I'm gonna put my spin on there and say, label it more of a want or need this in order for us to have a good chance. So I'll put that small caveat there.
Sure.
Look, I think I let out with it, or I said earlier, when we get pressure, but at the end of the game, the Rams get 7 sacks and we have 0 sacks. It just cannot be. And now you have a quarterback who's more wily in the pocket than Stafford is, with Purdy. With all that, we have got to find a way to get negative plays against Purdy. And that, in my book, will be at least 2 sacks, 3 sacks. I need Derek Hall to continue his progress. It's kind of like Mafe last year, where Mafe would get super hot, maybe take a step back, get hot again, take a step back. And I get it. That's you're gonna bob and weave, and you're gonna undulate with the talent you're facing and the situations and everything else, the game plan, all those things, the weather, all those things. If we want to win this game, and boy, howdy do I want to win this game, we need that kind of Derek Hall off the edge, chasing down Purdy and getting home a couple times, or a blind side one where he just doesn't see it. Man, Derek Hall with just that kind of monster game, is inside of him. You look at that dude, guys, you're like, that's a man. That dude is a powerful, powerful defensive edge, and we need to see it. We need to see like Hulk mode from him. To remember when what's his face? Oh gosh, 2019 Browns first pick of Clowney, Jadeveon Clowney. Remember the game he completely took over from the Niners? I think that was Thursday Night Football when the Niners were like 8-0 that year. We might need one of those kind of level games, and I'm looking at you, Derek Hall. Like, come on, dude.
That's a budding star potentially, but
Correct.
expecting a Jadeveon Clowney Niner game from a newer hope to be star. I wouldn't say expecting, but that sure would be nice. So looking on the defense to find someone to be a huge star, that's a tough call besides Spoon, of course. But we need a star in the pass rush. There's no doubt about it. We need a star on the pass rush. So I'll take it. I hope you're right.
Me
Clinton,
too.
You get to pick between Enlighten. You going to stick Adam with the one he doesn't want, or we have Day? Your choice, Clinton.
I'm not mean. I also enjoy the age of enlightenment. So let's rock and roll there. Let's do it.
Let's get to the enlightenment. Here you go. And a great chance for you to help us feel better, because I couldn't find anywhere on the internet that did that for me. So, Clinton, what if you enlighten us about any weaknesses you see in this particular opponent? Where might they be weakest that we can exploit?
Coaching,
Okay.
like Shanahan's a good schemer, and he's proven to be a bad head coach when it counts. Now, could also say, I don't know what we've seen from Macdonald yet. We've seen some good, some bad. I will say a huge improvement from last year, or the last couple of years, I think, is that even though the results have not been awesome all the time, I have seen in-game adjustments from Macdonald that I think were smart and I think were positive. Shanahan, he does these weird things. So he'll do things where, he's up by 7 or up by 9, and he'll go away from who they are. And I don't understand it. I'm sitting there watching, being like, you got CMC who could probably get 5 yards to carry, but go ahead, keep booting, keep throwing into triple coverage. That sounds sound. But that's a big area, guys. And I realize it's kind of all encompassing, and it's not a particular area of the team, but that's, I think Shanahan can get got. To me, he has proven that he is not a great NFL head coach. You can't lose that many games when you're up by 10 plus points in the second half and be considered great. You just can't. So let's see if the magic Mike that we think we got could out coach, because let's be honest, the last 3 years or so, Pete and team were outclassed by the Niners at every single turn.
Though their roster's been better than
their
ours
roster.
For a long time.
It's a better roster. They have more horses, no doubt about it. And it's the NFL. And, we see upsets every single week in the NFL, every single week. We got to get one this week. So let's see Magic Mike do something and out coach the crap over Shanahan.
Yeah. If anything, I was trying to support your point there. Like, their trenches roster has been twice or more better than ours for quite a while. Like, what coach shouldn't have a winning record again when you match up those two
good point
for the last several years? So I was trying to agree with your Shanahan weakness. Adam, what if you enlighten us about a potential weakness in this opponent?
Yeah, to kind of piggyback on Clinton's point for half a second. Just let him up 10 going into the fourth and we'll win for sure. But beyond that, one of the things that the Niners defense has struggled with, especially earlier in the year, is with deep shots in vertical routes, in things like that. So if the offensive line can come together with the return of Abe Lucas and give Geno just a smidgen of time, with DK coming back healthy, JSN coming off his biggest game of the year, Tyler being always sneaky and clutch as he always is, and maybe, just maybe, dump it down to K9 in some critical situations and let him go to work out on the perimeter there. I think that they can really make hay going down the field and taking deep shots, which actually really fits in with what Ryan Grubb really does like to do. I've given up trying to hope into existence the semblance of a run game. So I guess if that's the case, then let's lean into that. And that happens to be a weakness for the Niners, or at least earlier in the season. So let's take some shots.
Yeah, and when Grubb does call the perfect play, can K9 at least help us by not shifting right before the awesome bomb is going to happen and ruin what could have totally changed that last game? I mean, you're absolutely right. It's possible when Grubb sees his moment to call it, DK can toast him. And we know JSN can toast him now too. So I love that. It's absolutely a possibility. Their safeties can definitely be had at the right moment. We are down to daylight. So Adam,
happy day.
Nice. What if it's just not the Niners' day? Who will need to either have a meh or bad game from the Niners? You need to see these players not shine for us to win.
Yeah, I would say for me, Phil, it would be Christian McCaffrey to continue to show some rust, especially in the running game, coming back from the double Achilles thing. Look, if he had his rusty game last week and comes back and is full throttle CMC, good night. It's over. So if they can just get a subpar CMC performance and have Ernest Jones, who has experience against this Niners football team, play well in the run game and run support, along with the fast-moving rookie Tyrese Knight. Like, if they can just kind of bottle up that run game a little bit, and everything that the Niners do in their rinky-dink 5 yards and in stuff that always seems to kill us, that makes me crazy, that would be a huge, huge factor in for us having a big day and the Niners going down.
Yeah, so that could begin to shine. Speaking of shining, I'm in front of my office window here, and my ever-growing forehead is now, as the sun has come up during this daylight category. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry about the blinding that just has taken place here, but that would shine nicely if McCaffrey could not shine in the run game this week. Clinton, how about you? Who needs to have a meh or bad game other than Christian McCaffrey?
I'm going to give a little twofer, a little Chuck Woolery style here. So first, I'm going to go with the newly minted man with their nickelback Lenore, right? So DK is out there at the podium being like, I think he called him a kid. He goes, they just gave the kid all that money. We'll see what happens on Sunday. Pretty cool. You know what? You might as well talk it up. Might as well just like bring the bravado and just see what happens. Leave it on the field Sunday. If we lose, we lose, but might as well stir it up and make it this Drago versus Rocky type thing. And Lenore playing nickel, and if it's really covering slot, and if JSN could have the kind of game that Adam's calling for to stack those kind of days, that could be super cool. I want to go to a different player and a rookie who really kind of pisses me off that he's playing so well, in Dominic Pooney, their right guard. It's so irritating that they pick up a guy in the 3rd round as a right guard, and he's just really good. It's so frustrating. It's just like, he's really, really sound. Now, he's a rookie. And if Leo was also did not practice yesterday, got to watch that. I think it's a foot. But between Murphy and Hankins and everybody else that might be rotated into the nose or the A and the B gap, et cetera, if we can do some damage right over a rookie in Pooney who's played well, but he can have a mad day, you look back and go, ooh, 52 PFF grade and sack allowed right up the gut, that would be something. So along with watching our right side of our offensive line, let's be on the lookout for the right side of the Niners offensive line. And can we get some interior, I always like to call it like kind of crumple pressure. Yeah. And if that's the case, if we can just get it up the middle, man, we have an okay shot. So Pooney for the loss. How about that?
Put the lights out on Purdy as we crumple through their O-line. And they can be broken down just a little bit. I mean, whether you watch the Bucs game, a few of these games, Purdy was running into some. Now, he's getting better at dealing with pressure as the season's gone on, and that's kind of a bummer. Used to be like, you pressure Purdy, there's your thing. But boy, against the Bucs, and against us, he was making some crazy good throws dealing with pressure. So I'd like to see us turn the lights out on him completely instead of just hoping his throws that he gets off work out for us. Yep. Okay, well, that's all that we have for our categories. We do need to move to our wishing well from the flock, and then we'll hear your guys' What If Super Hawk here in a moment, your wish for the game. Rising Hawker has this wish: the Seahawks win the rest of the games from here on out. Okay, I'll put a few coins in for that. That would be pretty awesome.
Like that, yeah.
Car chimed in, 12-5, here we come. Several people like that one. Josh DeHuman, his wish: Lucas starts, and it helps the O-line. We talked about that quite a bit. Wishing for 1 or less penalties from the O-line and 2 or less sacks due to the O-line. So 2 or less sacks because of the O-line is a good game that we're hoping for.
I'd sign for it. I know that.
Sadly, that would be positive. Yeah.
You think 2 or less is a positive thing? Okay.
Yes.
I guess as much as we throw it, I'll give them that. Okay. Any thoughts on either of these?
I love them both. How about that? I love them all.
I'd like 1 or less, if that was me. But yeah. Clinton, you're going to go first. Your What If Super Hawk. I will say 2 weeks ago you both were wrong. Let's see here.
I thought I had an interception for Tariq.
I had you. No, that's something else. I did not have you. I did not. You had a, unless I've got the wrong game here. I'm pretty sure I have the right game. You had a Hall sack.
Okay, I'll have to go back and watch the videotape or never, and I'll just trust you. But I thought I had a Tariq interception, which we got.
Yeah, no, this is the right one because Brandon picked a DK 4 catches and he didn't, and DK didn't end up playing. So we were hoping that
Okay.
DK was. We were
So
hoping
so
that DK, and Brandon tried to call some kind of an audible. I guess I should have checked and see what that was before the game. He goes, "Hey, I'm gonna switch because DK's not playing." And now that I just thought of that and I forgot what it was that he said. Oh well, I didn't get it. I'm just gonna say that nobody was right on that one because I didn't go back and check to what his audible was. Either way, we didn't get them right. So what's your what if Super Hawk, Clinton? After all that,
my what if Super Hawk, I should get that part right. I am going to go to the, Adam called him out earlier. And for us to win this ball game, I think we need this kind of performance. I need Geno Smith to be responsible for 3 touchdowns, meaning I don't care how they come, 2 if by air, 1 if by land, don't matter. So, but 3 touchdowns via Geno Smith this week. And it doesn't sound like, oh, well, that's not too bold, but it just really hasn't done it that much this year. There's been a lot of games with like 1 touchdown. And I think we're going to have to keep pace at some point. And I think we're going to have to, if we are to win, I think we're going to have to get like that dagger play and just kind of separate. And I think that's going to rest on Geno. So all the things Adam was talking about and you were talking about earlier, Abe, a little more time. Let's rock and roll. Geno, 3 touchdowns, somehow, some way.
responsible. So maybe I'll even give it to you if he audibles to a handoff and K9 runs it in. I'll still give it to you, even if we get it that way, Clinton.
At this point in the season, I would take it.
Yeah,
to be
three
honest.
touchdowns that Geno had something to do with. I'm fine with that. Adam, how about you? Your what if Super Hawk for this matchup?
Okay, well, I lied previously in this show when I said that I've quit hoping on the running game and that it just is dead to me, and Ryan Grubb is never going to figure it out, because I do feel like this is the last week that I could have any hope in this.
Mhm.
Coming off the bye week, having the time to self scout,
But they're so good against the Niners are so good against the run.
K9 is so good at running the rock. Like,
Yeah.
if you can just get him the ball with just a tiny bit of space, get under center just a little bit, make it tough on him, let Abe Lucas and company work downhill, I think it could be huge. If K9 can go for 60 plus yards, that's a dub. The Seahawks are winning that football game.
I'll take 60 plus from K9. On the ground. 60 plus on the ground. And then now we get to your predictions and we see where this goes. Brandon won because he picked a lesser margin of victory. So it is now 6-3. Clinton, you like the Seahawks even more. Though I care more about the Seahawks than whether you get a win. You really need a win to stay in this thing, Clinton. So what's your prediction for this matchup?
So I will not be predicting the Rams because we're not playing them, but I'm also not predicting the Niners. I have had this potentially dumb feeling all week long that we're winning this game 24-20 Seahawks. And I talked before we started, I said, hey, kind of got a formula of how this goes down. So I'll quickly go through that before I pass to Adam, but a 4-point victory, 24-20. We win a crucial game and our delusion rises back to 342 or 432, whatever number Adam threw out later, or just 12. But here's my equation, guys. Here's how I get there. Number 1, we give up no touchdowns over 35 yards. None. No explosives in that way, just blown plays, no touchdowns over 35 yards. We have 1 turnover or less. We can still have 1. We do not turn the ball over in the red zone. K9 gets 18 rushing attempts in the game or more, and we are at least 50% touchdowns when we're in the red zone. We hit those numbers. I think we win this. We are right there to win this football game, and I think we're going to win.
That's a serious parlay, though, Clinton. That's a serious parlay for all of those to come to pass.
But not really, right? It's not. And this is earlier. I forget it. I think it was Adam talking about this. And to me, it is, but it isn't. It isn't in the sense that it's just like, just play a clean game. The reason we lost to the Rams the first time, the reason we lost to the Niners were turnovers and then negatives and explosives against us. Just play a freaking clean game. So I know that might seem like a inside straight, like I'm going all in and like 2-7 blind or something like that. But these are not, it's like, just don't give up a 35-yard touchdown. Like, that's not ridiculous, right? So I think it's a bunch of things that are like not ridiculous that is a good way for us to win this football game.
18 carries from K9. I mean,
18 carries,
if Grubb
because
calls that many, he's going to tap out and not get to 18.
A boy can dream. What can I tell you guys?
Yeah, I feel like Strange is over there saying there's one way this can happen. And you have been the first person I've heard predict us in a win. So thank you for that, Clinton. And now I see what it's going to take is I've got a 2 of diamonds, a 3 of diamonds, and a 5 of diamonds, and a 6 of diamonds. There's one more card to be turned over. We're going to get it right here. Adam, what kind of can you give me some hope with your prediction in this matchup?
Probably not. So at the end of the day, look, Clinton's talking about like the offensive line has to play good. Kenneth Walker has to be good. The secondary has to be good. Defensive line has to be good. Coach Mike has to have his best game. Basically, Eric Kennedy has to pick out the best uniforms that day. Like, I mean, he's talking about threading a needle so small that like you would have to not just put on your cheaters, but get out a microscope and put that needle down to thread the needle through. Like, I mean, that's tough. I mean, and the funny part is
he was trying to make us feel better, and it somehow made me feel worse.
Yeah. The funny part is like at the end of the day, all he's asking is for the Seahawks to play normal football. Just be normal.
Maybe
and
that's right.
Like they just won't and can't do it seemingly this season. Look, I love this team. I think that this year is going to be a foundationally important year for this coaching staff and the rest of this roster going forward. Getting rid of Dotson, getting in Knight, is that waving the white flag? I don't think that's the right term. I think that's more like, look, we know we're really not going anywhere, so I really do need to see what this guy has, and we all know that Dotson's not going to be it long term, and they're kind of doing that across the board. So with that said, the only way that the Seahawks are winning this game is if they win the turnover margin, and they have been poor with that this entire year, and I don't see that changing. I think it's 27-17 49ers.
Okay, so 27-17 Niners. I think it can happen, but not necessarily because of the Seahawks doing all these awesome things. I think the way we win is the Niners just play bad. Like, if the Niners put up a stinker, we can win, and the Niners are totally capable. Purdy is totally capable of not having an awesome game. The Hawks need to do some awesome things too. I don't know that picking all the awesome things the way Clinton's trying to pull off, or all the really good normal things, is going to be tough to do. But the Hawks will need to do some great things, and they almost did last time. I mean, the last game, of course, the Niners were more banged up, so they had less to work with. We almost did some great things, and then we just cost ourselves with some stupidity that kept us from having a shot at the end. So it's not impossible, but to predict a win is tough. And I think that's why almost all the predictions, Clinton's the one person that I've seen in Hawkdom that is predicting us to have a win. I want to win. We can win. Predicting a win is hard to do.
Well, let's be clear about one thing. If the Hawks do somehow pull this off down in Santa Clara, as much as I have said over the last like 3-4 weeks, this isn't a serious team. I don't care, if they make a wild card berth and get into the playoffs, they're not going anywhere or anything like that. If they can win this game, I can't quit the hope that like they're going to do a little bit of something. Yeah. If they lose this game, then it's time to really look at this and be like, I think rebuild's the wrong term, but just the idea of this transition year and just trying some stuff in trying to figure out what works for you long-term going forward. So this is a very pivotal game with the extra prep, with the bye week and all that. It's going to be fascinating to watch.
There's a tiny chance that Abe can cause us to be like a top 25 O-line, right?
Right.
It's so funny. It's like, there's a small chance that our Pro Bowl caliber right tackle coming back could elevate us to 20, but it's not wrong. We're laughing because it's a truthful statement, right? That's how
Yeah.
porous
good at the rest of the offensive football. I mean, tight ends like meh, but the rest of the players on offense are really good players. If we could be top 25, that could be a top half offense consistently.
Gosh, we sound like somebody in an abusive relationship, like if they only hit me once a week instead of 7 times a week, it'd be better. Like that's how we view the offensive line. Gosh, it's terrible.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
Oh my goodness. I hate to end talking about our offensive line. Can someone help me transition to another topic somehow? Yeah, if we win this one, then we got the Cards and we got all kinds of hope to see what can happen. So there's a chance that this could transform our hopes to keep it really interesting. And there's a lot of fun players. I hate to see all these fun players get wasted just because Schneider can't build an offensive line. I hate to see that. Yeah.
Well, let's stick off out of the negative, the offensive line. We're going to win this game, boys. We are going to win this game, and I'm looking forward to celebrating it Sunday night when Brandon and Adam go live on the Seahawkers podcast. I will be here live behind the scenes and just rallying everybody because we're going to shock the world. We're going to win this game. We're going to get right back into the NFC West.
I love it, gentlemen. So with that, what if we say...
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.